Okay, here you go. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanurmardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. All right. Radhe Radhe, once again, just give me a sec. I think I lost chain of thought around something. Give me a sec. Let me share it again. To stop share. Okay, so let's get started. We're not going to recite today. I'm just going to do a quick recap before we get into the topic for our discussion today. So we spoke about 2 shlokas yesterday, introduced the concept that you are already aware of, that Lord Krishna says in 15th chapter, 7th verse, that Mame Vancho Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana Mana Shashtani Indriyani Prakriti Sthani Karshati. That embodied souls in this material world, they are fragmental, eternal fragmental parts. But because of material nature, they are struggling with their 6 senses, including the mind. So as part of being eternal part of God, it's our obligatory duty or a constitutional duty to serve the whole. And that is where the concept of seva comes. And furthermore, when Arjun inquires to Lord Krishna, how do I get this knowledge? Then Lord Krishna goes on to tell that tad vidhi pranipaten pariprashnena sevaya uptekshanti te jnanam jnanena tattva darshana, that you need to approach a spiritual master and from him with reverence and by rendering service to him. Service means seva. Then you will get this knowledge from somebody who has seen the truth. So that's where we were talking about seva yesterday. So today we will continue on that discussion, and we are going to talk about the spiritual benefits of doing seva, the right attitude needed to perform seva, and how important is satsang for spiritual growth. Okay, we'll try to touch upon these topics today. So let's get started. We've been talking about these 3 S's, sadhana, seva, and satsang, and we spoke about seva yesterday. We will continue to conclude that discussion and briefly touch upon the satsang aspect of it as well. Quick recap, we spoke about this concept that part has to serve the whole, hand, body, hand, stomach, example, employer-employee relationship, anything in the world which is a part, it has to serve the whole. Right? That is how the world operates as well. At least it tries to follow that model where you make it, you form alliances, and then hope that people who are part of your alliance are going to serve the big entity. Right? So this is the same principle which is followed in the material world as well. Furthermore, we saw that there's a dharma. Dharma means something which is very inherent to any thing. It is inseparable. It has no choice but to go with that attribute. And we looked at these examples for water, fire, and milk. And then we looked at this example that for human beings, the dharma is to serve, because everybody is serving. We don't have a choice but to serve, which brought us to this spiritual law that you have no choice but to serve. You will have to serve. Now, whether you serve the spiritual realm or divine realm is a choice. Free will God has given us. Right? We have a choice. When it comes to choosing whether to serve or not, we don't have a choice. When it comes to choosing who to serve, we have a choice. So this is how the law goes. And then we looked at the 2 aspects, basically the 2 realms possible. There's no third realm. One is the material realm and one is a divine realm. In fact, divine realm is not something you have to do out of the ordinary, other than, of course, your seva, satsang, and sadhana. Even in your life, in fact, Swami Vivekananda had said that there is no work which is secular. Everything is devotional. Everything is actually devotional. And there is a beautiful verse. Actually, I'll bring it up. Let me check that quickly. I wanted to Yad Karoshi Yad Nashi. That verse was there, which talks about it. I'll probably bring it little later in the session because it's a beautiful verse. So I wanted to talk about that. Yes, it's Yad Karoshi Yad Nasi Yad Juhoshi Dadasi Yat Pasyasi Kaunteya Tat Kurushva Madarpanam. So in this one, Lord Krishna is saying that whatever you do, whatever you eat, you can offer it as a prasad. If you want to sing, you can sing glories of God. If you want to earn money, do it for the seva of God. And he say, whatever you offer as oblation to the sacred fire, whatever you bestow as a gift, whatever austerities you perform, a son of Kunti, do that as an offering to me. So the point here is that even material world, it is material because of our consciousness is directed towards enjoying it. But when we start doing it or offering it to God, that same secular work becomes devotional. And that is the consciousness switch that needs to happen. And that is what Lord Krishna is talking about here. Then we spoke about that there is meva and seva and shram. If you keep on doing shram, you get more shram. In material life, there is no escape from relentless shram that you will keep on getting no matter what you do. Okay. So that is how these principles work intuitively. If you think deeply about it, you will understand it. Okay. Nobody can belie these laws. I mean, nobody can refute these laws. That is what Maharaji, when he says something, it's like, okay, yes, of course it is. Nobody can deny that. So the good thing about understanding scriptures from a saint is that there is absolutely no second guessing about it in life. When we second guess ourselves, oh my God, somebody else is having fun. Maybe they have gotten something that we have not. Maybe I'm missing a point in life. You don't have to second guess. Nobody means nobody. It's a very clear thing. So the key takeaway for me in this particular slide, if you look clearly, is 9.27. That shloka I came across today. I said that is essentially what we are discussing today. That divine realm doesn't mean you give up everything. You can actually make every work secular, right? So yad karoshi, yad nashi, yad juhoshi, dadasi. God is saying, whatever you do, just do it as an offering to me. And then the same act, from being material, it becomes spiritual or devotional, or it becomes a seva at that point. Seva is what we are discussing. Okay. Now, let's get into, so this is what we are discussing. And we also said that seva is something which is a fruit of sadhana. Seva doesn't come easy. And if you get picked up for a seva, it's a huge deal. It's a big deal. Okay. We should just grab that opportunity with both hands and make the most of it. It doesn't come easy. And seva is something that grows on us. When we start making out time for seva, then God starts making out time for us for other things. This is how it works. Nobody has run out of time by doing seva, and nobody has become poor by giving. Okay, this is how the spiritual principles work. So God will make sure the time is aligned somehow. It works out. Now let's move on. Now let's get into the discussion benefits of seva. Okay, it is something we need to, I think I want to make it a bit interactive today because you can chime in with your experiences around it. So what are the benefits of seva, doing seva? Let's start off with that. The first one, first and foremost, I would say, it is building sanskars to serve, which does not come so, I mean, we are serving, but we are serving for our own sake, right? We know intuitively we are serving. I mean, not intuitively, consciously, subconsciously, we will end up serving somebody. But when you start doing seva, it will start building sanskars that, okay, I have to serve somebody else without any expectation in return. So those sanskars you can build only by doing seva, because there is no remuneration or money involved here. The time that you lend, whether you are doing shramdan or your time you are giving, or there is nothing, you don't get compensated for that. So if you're able to do that, what you get in return is immense. Okay, God is not kanjus makhi choose, right? But at least by doing this practice, it is helping us build those sanskars, that it is not just about me, myself alone here. It is about something bigger, giving back and things like that. So first thing is it will start building those sanskars, because ultimately, if you look at it, get closer to the ultimate goal. Ultimate goal is we are God's eternal fragmental parts. Being his eternal fragmental parts, we have to serve him. So the sooner we start building those sanskars, the easier it would be for us progressively. If we don't build those sanskars, we never build, we have an inertia, or we are too scared to jump into it, then sooner or later we'll have to conquer it in our mind. So seva is something that will give us that kickstart that we need, and start getting closer to the eventually our position is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had said, that Jiver Swarup Hoye Nitya Krishna Das. So if we are Nitya Krishna Das and we have not learned how to do seva, then we have missed out on something. So that is the importance of seva. Now, the second thing is, it's a crash course on life. It's one of my favorite ones. Okay, just give me a sec. Something is not right. Okay, now it's fine. It's a crash course on life. Okay, this is a favorite one. I mean, it's something you can experience. See, like some people, they want to learn English quickly. What do? They find a book, Rapidex English speaking course. Or if somebody wants to learn some language, they will find, okay, Java for dummies or something like that. I really want to quickly learn something. So if you want to learn lessons and confront your weaknesses or your frailties, get into seva. The very first dose of seva will start confronting your secret stash. Okay, the kind of people you detest and hate to talk to, they will be pushed into your life immediately without fail. Okay, so seva is something which will give you a reality check, because if you are having a seva and a cruise walk, in cruise control, then it's not going to happen for long. This is how sevas are designed, because Guru knows what are your weak points, what are the challenges you are having, where you're getting stuck, what is your secret stash, and that will keep on getting challenged time and again. And in life, we learn those lessons incrementally at a very slow pace. You may get a spouse, and then you may get a friend, or you may get a neighbor, or maybe a boss, or maybe a sister-in-law, or maybe a mother-in-law. All that is fine. It will, in bits and pieces, will come. In seva, all those lessons will come at a fast forward pace. This crash course quickly. That is how seva is done. The biggest learning of seva is to take on those challenges and come out of it as a better person. Some people take a U-turn from seva also. Why? It's too troublesome for them. I would do seva, but I can't deal with this one person, and they forget the big picture. So the biggest gain of seva is to learn about your weaknesses. Your ego will be challenged, your secret stash, your selfishness, do you have the big picture, or are you doing it for yourself? Too many things will be challenged on the path of seva, and that is the most what do you call that, beautiful learning coming out of seva. And if there is anybody who is in the seva world, who has started doing seva, or even in volunteer work for that matter, and they can claim they have not had any challenges, they have not had any personality conflicts, they have not come across situations which have not tested their patience, tolerance, and they have not had resentment towards somebody, then it is very rare. Not rare, it's not possible, basically. So first is, it is building sanskars to serve. Second is, it is a crash course on life. So when you get into the seva world, don't expect an easy ride, that now Satyug is going to prevail, all the spiritual people will be working together, so now we have hit a jackpot in life. Okay, work wise, no, you will still continue to get challenged. And the key is to maintain bhav. Sadhana is what? Sadhana, actually, Swamiji gives such a beautiful definition of sadhana. And he in turn had asked this to Maharaj Ji. So he said, when you have a reason to get upset or to get angry, or the situations are unfavorable, and still you are able to tell your mind, no, I will not get resentful. I will still do this, keeping the big picture in mind, and you fight with your mind. That is what sadhana is. Sadhana is taming your mind. So, jab paristhiti vipreet, when you don't have favorable situation, then if you are able to tell your mind and persist with it, that is what sadhana is. So, no reason, no person, no situation can be an excuse for us to take a turn away from seva, or to say, oh no, no, I can't deal with this. Enough of it. Because that is something you'll have to come across. And the bar will keep on getting raised until you learn the lesson. So it's a crash course, it's a fast forward thing where you will understand what are your soft spots that you never knew, what are your buttons that can be pressed on a day-to-day basis. Okay, so that is the biggest game in the seva world. So like even in corporates, they say fail early, fail fast, and learn fast. So sooner you will fail, sooner you will be able to realize, there is still so much work left to be done. If nobody is going to test you, you will be in fool's paradise, thinking that, I have arrived, spiritually arrived, and now I'm on a fast track to Golok. But Seva World will give you a reality check periodically and from time to time. That is how it works. Okay. So failure, it's okay to fail. We all fail, but do it early. If you fail after 1,000 lifetimes, then the lesson is delayed. So Seva World will make sure you fail early so that you learn early. So that is the key thing, right? As long as you are learning with the right mindset. The third one is it increases selflessness. Right? Realization that I and mine alone are not the center of the universe. Right? We are only thinking about ourselves or our immediate near and dear one. But today only I came across that beautiful quote. I and mine in this, basically in the world of seva, you can actually dovetail as well. I means I am the servant of God. Mine means God alone is mine. So you can still use it, but you will start expanding your bubble that I, mine is a very limited view of life. Okay, I am this, this makes me happy, this is what I like, or this is good for my family. That's all. If we are centered around that only, Seva World will actually help you increase that bubble, because now you're putting in your time. Time is life, right? If we are spending, let's say, 5 hours in a Seva on a given day, you are devoting 25% of your life on a given day in Seva. It's a huge deal. So it is selflessness because you're not getting paid for that. There are no material rewards for it. There are spiritual rewards, but then that will solidify your faith that yes, because that your experience will keep on telling you. So it will help you increase your selflessness. That is another gain of Seva World. Engage your mind meaningfully. Now, mind is a devil's workshop. I'm telling you. By serving God and Guru, and you are purifying your mind in the process. If you don't do that, your mind will find an object which will interest it, or it will find something, some agenda in life. So if you're not doing seva, you'll be just doing something. Some agenda you will pick up in life. If nothing, you'll start thinking about somebody who said something bad to you. If nothing, you'll pick up a phone. Oh, tell me what's going on in life. Okay. Or batao, right? So you need to engage your mind meaningfully. And seva is something that helps you put that prioritization in life, because without seva, your time is running away. Where it is running away, even you don't know that. And it helps you engage it meaningfully, because sadhana is something you can sit. You can sit for about an hour, maybe 2 hours, if you're really good at it, but you can't go on for 10 hours in sadhana, right? That's not practical. But seva is something you can go on for hours with a proper mindset, right? So that is another advantage of seva, and everything can be made devotional. Like I said, right? Swami Vivekananda said, nothing is secular. When you start building that sentiment, that everything can actually, you can bring God into the mix, then it becomes seva. When you're having food, all right, I'm having it as a prasad of God. When you're, you feel like singing, you sing glories of God or engage in bhajans, or even if you're listening to a Bollywood score, you can tie it to Krishna or God himself, right? And if you feel like earning more, you have that sentiment that let me earn more so that I can give more. So every sentiment can actually be dovetailed towards God. And Seva is a great way to engage your mind meaningfully, because if your mind will find its subject, mind is like that genie out of the bottle, right? We spoke about it needs something. And if you're not investing time in Seva or sadhana, it will find time. You'll start thinking, plotting about something that you want to get in material world and worrying about it and getting anxious about it. Oh my God, my mom said this, dad said this, friend said that, relative said it, boss said this. Your mind will find its ways. Okay. So that is another way where Seva helps you engage your mind meaningfully. Yes, Monica ji.
Radhe Radhe everyone, Radhe Radhe Nidhi.
Radhe Radhe.
I'm not sure if we covered the topic of how people do seva in the temples and especially in ISKCON. Maybe taking up that life early in their life. And then you said that it has pros and cons both. I'm not sure if we covered that, but if we did not, then.
Okay, pros and cons like in for the seva part you're talking about?
Seva and also Bhakti Marg, right? I mean, I've seen like college going students getting into ISKCON and then giving up all the worldly pleasures. Not sure how if they continue or they come back. But like the other day, you were saying that grahas जीवन में रह के आप ज़्यादा कर सकते हैं.
Okay, so that's a topic of different discussion altogether. So point here being, if they have developed enough dispassion, detachment to the world, and they take on seva or devotion as a choice in their life, no problem whatsoever. Okay, it's a higher duty that they are performing, like Buddha. However, if they are not developed enough dispassion towards the world and they are not ready and they artificially renounce it, then it becomes a problem. So we cannot know that. So point here being, yes, we can do Karam Yoga, but then that is not a prerequisite that everybody has to go through that, right? If that was the case, why would people like Swamiji or Buddha or people, saints who come from time to time, it is said the call of God is the strongest. So we don't know who is actually gotten the call of God and who is actually artificially renouncing it just because they think spirituality is probably an easier path than taking on the responsibilities of the world. We would never come to know about it. So the point here is the internal state of mind. It's an internal game, not an external game. Okay. You could be externally renounced and internally still not be renounced. And at the same time, you could be internally renounced and externally may not be renounced. Okay. Both can happen because it's an inner thing. You may not be, a lot of renunciates were King Janak, Dhruv, Prahlad. They actually ruled for thousands of years, but they were renunciates because that is more of an internal game. But if you renounce it artificially, then you are neither here nor there. Lord Krishna has strongly condemned it. Then what happens is to those Babas who will smoke ganja after a while because they did not understand, and you cannot simply run away from your duties. But people, if they do it, we cannot say if they have actually artificially renounced it or they actually feel that bliss and want to take on that path, right? There's absolutely no harm if somebody's really sorted out in their heads with that matter. From that regards, I think Champaji wanted to add something as well. Yes, Champaji.
Radhe Radhe, I just wanted to put one point here. In ISKCON, those brahmacharis, they choose that order only for 3 years till they are studying, Okay. That 3 years, even in Hindu scriptures, it's called brahmacharya. You have to practice brahmacharya while you are learning the scriptures, even the various mutts. The same thing with ISKCON. And once they finish the 3-year rigorous course, that is really rigorous. And after that, they are allowed to choose the Grihastha ashram. Even the president of Bangalore ISKCON is a married man. The choice is there. Most of them, they wear white and they lead a Grihastha life. This is only for those who are in the learning process.
Correct.
The same thing with our Brahmin mutts, they impose a lot of discipline during the learning period when the boys are very young. And then the choice is yours, whether you want to follow the Grihastha ashram or Sannyasa ashram. And most people follow the Grihastha ashram only. They wear the white and they do preaching and everything. Radhe Radhe.
Thank you for shedding more light on this topic, Champaji. Radhe Radhe. I've studied in KV myself until the 10th standard. And when yesterday you said you were a teacher in KV, I have immense respect for teachers, regardless of whether they're KV teachers or not. But yeah, I had a nostalgic moment that, KV, and it reminded me of all the houses, Shivaji, Ashoka, Tagore, and Raman. So I said, wow. But yeah, good to know that. And thank you for shedding light on this topic. All right. So yes. So Grihasthi, other point here is it's Grihastha ashram is not a mandate. Okay, this is needed for people to, for people who are not yet situated at a higher platform. There are two dharmas, paradharma and aparadharma. One is at a bodily level, one is at the level of a soul. But because most of us are not ready to perform dharma at the level of the soul, bodily dharma takes precedence for them, because until they perfect that, they are not ready for the other higher message. So that is why varnashram dharma is recommended for most, so that at least they get a sense of responsibility and not develop artificial renunciation or towards the world and prematurely take sannyas. But if you're ready because of your past sanskars and you choose that other renunciate order of life, that is perfectly okay as well. It's not that you are doing something wrong. You might be ready for that. And who is ready, who's not, we don't know that. All right. So then it provides a perfect platform to perform Karam Yoga. Now, if you look at it, Seva is a perfect world to do that. When you are serving your God and Guru, there should nothing be in your mind other than, doing your best for them or for their pleasure. So there was a beautiful humorous story, to illustrate the point. There was one Guruji who was sleeping. And when he was sleeping, his disciples said, okay, give me one charan each so that we can do your charan sevan while you are sleeping. So Guruji said, all right, that's fine. So he lied down and both of them took one feet each, and they started massaging it and doing that. And Guruji fell asleep. And in between, what happened when they were massaging, one of the disciples' foot touched the other one. And this disciple said, how dare you touch my foot? And he put the foot back again and touched the other one. And soon they were, hitting foot against each other. And Guruji woke up. He said, by the way, do you even know whose seva are you doing? So this happens in seva world. It's a humorous story, but trust me, before you will realize it, you will get sucked into it. Okay, in seva world also, how could you say that? You didn't do that. It was supposed to be done like that. You did that and it should have happened like that. We forget that. It will happen, trust me. Even if after this knowledge, it will happen. You can note it down in your notebook and it happens, remind it to yourself. And it happens every day. So now that is an opportunity forfeited to do Karam Yoga, because personality conflicts will happen. Somebody will say and boss around with you. Then what will happen? What are you going to do? Are you going to give up the seva because your pride or ego, it does not appeal to you? How could that person talk to me so disrespectfully? Will you forget the big picture? Who are you doing the seva for? Seva world will actually test that. Okay, so be prepared for that. And then it provides a vessel on your time, which otherwise gets frittered away in wasteful activities. So money, time, water. If you don't put a vessel, you don't know where it's going, and it will find its way. We all have 24 hours in a day, and great people, they differentiate themselves by making every second of their lives count. Obama, he's the president of the planet, and I was listening to one of his interviews. He would still make out time to hit the gym. How could he do that? I don't know. Narendra Modi, he works for 18 hours a day, and he still does his meditation and all the stuff that is needed. And for us, the excuses, we don't have time. So the point here is, when you do seva, it will actually bring in that appreciation. How much time do we have? Okay, even I used to think, how am I going to do this, that? But I realize I just have so much. We all have so much of time, and we always have time for things we always want to do. This excuse of not having time, just replace it by saying it's not my priority, and see how it sounds like. It's just that it's not a priority. That's why we are not able to find, or we are paranoid, just because we don't want to let go of our comforts, that sipping that coffee, not doing anything and lazing around. We get so habituated to that routine that we don't want anything to intrude that thing. But seva will make you realize how much time we truly have in our life. Okay, it's just a moot point or an excuse when we say we don't have time. We all have time, and a lot of time. Okay, 24 hours are a lot actually, if you think about it. And when you start filling in seva in your day-to-day routine, it will make you realize that you had so much of time that even you were not aware you had. And the most important thing is, time is life, and time is God also, right? God meets us in form of time as yam, in swaroop of yam at the time of death. So frittering away time, we don't understand that part. But if by God's grace our time is put to good use, it's a huge blessing. Most of our lives, for most of our lifetimes, gets frittered away just like that. So if we can somehow get that vessel where our time is getting utilized, it's a huge blessing. Same thing happens for money also. It gets frittered away in useless things, wasteful activities, paying for medical bills, lawyers' bills, and other things, or going into vessels which don't deserve it. So barakat, like they say, if your money gets utilized, that is also a huge blessing. If your time gets utilized, that is also a huge blessing. And water, I'm not going to talk about anyways, right? So we should conserve water. That's all I'll say. So these are some of the things, advantages of doing seva and entering the world of seva, that you can immediately realize when you get in there. And there might be more. I would love to hear from others. I've just tried to encapsulate few of the ones which were key highlights for me and what I've heard about. But if there are any more, please feel free to share. So these are some of the things for seva. Now let's move on quickly. So thank you, Sandhya, for sharing that. Teen Rang Sada Sang, Seva, Sumiran, and Satsang. Okay. Seva, sadhana, and satsang. This is how, if you look at it, you do seva with a resolve, like a commitment. Seva is not something that you do only if you feel like, or only if you have time, or only after all of your things are done. It's a commitment you make to yourself. It's just like if your boss is telling you to do something here, you make a commitment from yourself to God that I'm going to do it to the best of my ability, and I'm not going to be lax about it. Sumiran, we know that sadhana, ekant sadhana we spoke about, and then satsang, right? These are the mudras typically we do in each one of these. Now, satsang, what it means is, the third is sat plus sang. And sat means truth. Sang means associate. As you are associating with truth at that point. Okay. It's not a physical drill that you are doing. So you look at this elephant. Okay, it will come out. Okay, trust me, it's elephant. It's not alligator. So it's taking a bath, which is good. This is satsang. And soon afterwards, it puts mud on it. So we should protect, not only do satsang, clean ourselves, but also make sure we are not undoing that work by unnecessary association of the world. Picking up calls, talking to world, thinking about, meditating about problems that are not going to matter for us anyways and stuff like that. We need to protect ourselves. It's like Amdani Athani Kharcha Rupaiya, right? That movie was there. So you're earning $50 and spending 100, then you will net negative only. It's very important to protect that as well. Okay, so you not only do satsang, immerse yourself. See, the success of our spiritual journey is not only dependent upon what you are doing when you are in satsang, but more so what you are doing when you are not in satsang. See, when you are in satsang, if you are thinking about the world like Tavrit Suvrit story, then of course we are wasting that opportunity. So during satsang, of course, we have to immerse our mind in God. But when we are not in satsang, which is the majority of the time, what are we doing? That will determine the success or the pace at which we will progress in our spiritual journey. And seva is a great vessel for that. Okay, again, I'm reiterating. Satsang is important, seva is important, sadhana is important. All three S's are very, very important. But when you are not doing sadhana, satsang, adding that as a routine, Swamiji says that in 40 years of his prachar, people who do satsang regularly have progressed fastest. Okay, that is the power of satsang. And Harinam Sankirtan anyway is a recommended thing in the age of Kali. But you can't do satsang for the entire day unless you are doing an akhand kirtan. So when you are not doing satsang, the best way to engage your time is to pick up some seva and make your work devotional instead of secular doing it for yourself. So that will protect your sadhana as well. Okay, so what is satsang? Again, I picked up Swamiji's, I got this picture. The word satsang, it means to, associate with truth. It's not a physical drill. You're actually going away from worldly distractions. When you come for family camp or you'll attend any of the satsang, you will realize, you will feel that bliss, you will be able to cherish that taste at that moment, when you immerse yourself in the virtues, pastimes, abodes, and saints of God. And it is to deliberately absorb the mind and devotionally act. It's a deliberate practice that you do in that congregation with a collective vibe. That is what satsang is. But if you cannot do it in person, remote is fine as too. You simply plug in and you will get the same benefit. So that is the power of satsang. We have spoken about seva, and then sadhana anyway we have spoken about, right? Ekant sadhana. So we have covered those three. We will probably revisit this topic again because it's a pretty profound topic. But yes, let's hear from Sandhya, and then I wanted to talk about another topic as well. Yes.
Yeah, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe
So
Radhe.
2 questions. One is regarding seva. So I think the last point was that there's a lot of time that goes wasted, and when we get engaged in seva, we kind of channelize it in the right direction.
Mhm.
So how to kind of evaluate that there is still scope of, like, suppose someone is already engaged in seva, what is the, like, limit, like how much can one, or how much one should take up, and how much time there might still be getting wasted that one can channelize. How that evaluation, if you have some tips around that.
Yeah, it's an introspective activity, but then within your seva also you keep on optimizing it and keep getting better at it, right? If you look at Swamiji, it is what he does is humanly impossible. He translated the entire Bhagavad Gita in between his trips that he makes, from one place to another. And I think he did that whole thing in less than a year, or maybe, little over a year. And then we have not finished completing a book and he has come up with another book. And on top of it, he's playing cricket also, table tennis also, taking calls also, university project also, taking discourses also, that too varied, getting on Zoom calls also, SMX also, humanly impossible, right? So they create out time. And I think when you start doing work for God, he starts giving you things which can optimize your stuff, and you just start getting more time. So I think it's a self-talk basically, where you understand how you can optimize your current things, and wasteful activities is something that we need to be able to identify ourselves, as best as we possibly can. Intuitively you will start understanding that. But yes, there's no limit to seva, you're right. But at the same time, we got to be realistic, because if you want to do seva for a long run, we can't burn ourselves out, right? So we got to be realistic around it. Let's understand what is our top 2 sevas or top 3 sevas or primary seva, and then put in our best in that. And then, time permitting, if God makes out time by making us more efficient, then we can pick up a little bit of here and there stuff as well. But we got to be realistic around it. See, when I started with Bhagavad Gita, I thought this is the only thing I'll do for the rest of my life. Don't even bother to think about anything. But then over time, you start getting into other things, because you start getting, a little efficient around what you want to do and how you want to do it. So somehow it starts happening after a while.
Awesome. And can you also throw some light on this point? Like, if someone is already doing seva and sadhana, why do they need satsang if they are already doing seva and sadhana?
Yeah, if they're already in seva, and see, seva is a fruit of sadhana only, right? So if they are in for a lot of people, seva is their sadhana only. So you can get into that state. If you're able to maintain that state, then sure. But if you get extra time, then satsang is important. But if you're already in seva and sadhana, then it's just a matter of balancing it out, right? As best as you can. You'll always have time to listen to a bhajan and do a little bit of chintan around it. But yeah, I mean, we got to be a little realistic around what works for us around that. But all three S's are important. But if you're already in Seva and it takes a lot of your time and you're able to maintain that right bhav and mindset around your Seva, then probably, other two things can be sidestepped a little bit, although three are equally important.
Thank you.
But sadhana has to go. Sadhana is like sharpening the axe. So whatever time you spend, it's important to have that one-on-one time with God, because that will sharpen the axe, that ekant sadhana that we do. That is very important thing. Swamiji makes out time even despite his busy schedule every day, right? And then he can do satsangs whenever he get an opportunity sitting with us. So yes, he does prioritize that in that way. Yes, a couple of other hands as well. Radhe Radhe, Shramya.
Radhe Radhe. My question is, if one is new on this path, then what is the best way to start Seva? Like, what is the starting point? How do we start?
See, we have to look at basically any opportunity that comes our way. Part of it is we can be proactive around it. Okay, this is what I want to do. Other is if something comes along, just grab it, right? Simple seva. It could be a social network seva. It could be maybe picking up a co-hosting. It could be that will bring in more commitment from our side. When we start with co-hosting, as you can ask Amruta Vaniji, more commitment, and then it grows into you. She started with co-hosting, and look at how many things she's involved with right now. Or you pick up something, maybe, you pick up summaries, you pick up portal engagement where you're writing in or sharing your views, or you pick up sharing the post somewhere somebody else can get benefited when you're sharing it with your WhatsApp groups or Facebook groups. Pick up Insta Seva. There's so many avenues around it, depending upon the skills. If you're good in coding, maybe a web portal Seva you can help with. If you're good in data science, you can help with analytics. So many things are there. There's no dearth of stuff around it. The key thing is for us to identify and pick up something and get started with it and let it grow. Because if we wait for that perfect thing and perfect time and perfect moment, that's never going to happen. Right? We don't wait for the rain to subside. The key is in getting out in the rain and dancing, So that is how it goes basically, because you will never get that perfect thing. Our mind will always give us an excuse, if this happens and after this happens and this happens, but that story will continue for the rest of the life and it will never happen. You'll never get that perfect time. So you think about it and then work with people. There are enough work around it. There's always some seva you can get involved in, and see how that goes and let it, grow on you, or pick up something else that comes your way as well. But you show the intent and then seva will find you. There's always seva for sure.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Radhe.
No worries. Radhe Radhe. Radhe Radhe Pallaviji.
Radhe Radhe Nitinji, Radhe Radhe everyone. Excellent session like always, Nitinji. I would like to comment a little bit on what Sandhya ji asked, a very, very beautiful question that Sandhya ji asked. That if someone is already doing seva, then do they need to attend the satsang? And that's a very genuine question. And I believe that the most important aspect of devotion is maintaining nishkamta. And by attending satsang, we have to keep filling our mind with the knowledge, and we have to keep revising our tools and all the concepts of all the gyan of knowledge, so that we do not fall in the trap of pride and we do not lose the focus of being nishkamta. That is something that we are doing only for God and not for ourselves. And the problem happens is that people, when they are doing seva, they try to get acknowledgement, or they have the pride of doership, and all those other things can take over in our mind. So it is very important to keep attending the satsang. I think satsang is a daily thing to be attending. We should not miss it at all. Many times it has happened that even single day we miss something, and someday our mind again tries to overpower with all those all the vikars that we have. which are so strong.
Very true. Very true. True. So whenever there is a conflict between seva and satsang, obviously Nishkamta takes over. I have seen when Swamiji has his retreats, there are people who are doing seva, right? That is a sacrifice they are making. Sometimes it's a forced sacrifice. I mean, if you ask me, I would love to sit in satsang, but then I have Balmukund going on the other side. I hardly attend satsangs, right? But then I think God takes care of your sadhana aspect of it when you are doing that, because you are doing sacrifice there, and that also pays off, right? Swamiji said in seva it may take you longer, but you will go higher, because it is a sacrifice you are making at that point. Sadhana also becomes selfish after a while, because you are getting the bliss. Seva
Correct.
is nishkam, right? You are forfeiting that bliss also. So if you simply do sadhana, you will realize God, but then you will have kubja sanskars. You will
Yes.
love God for your sake. But when you do realize God through seva, then you will have gopi sanskars. So that is much higher. That is how Swamiji explained between seva and sadhana.
Very true.
Yeah. So
Thank you,
yes.
Nitinji. I remembered asking Swamiji the same question about do's and don'ts of doing seva.
Right, and
And
same up, there are pitfalls also in the path of seva, right? I mean, especially when you are a newbie, you start working, it's like you start getting this pride, I'm doing it, and
Yes.
others are not doing it, or I did more, or this, that. So all these pitfalls are there. We need to be very, very watchful about
Yes.
of seva as well. And then the first thing is the seva world, we think, okay, now we have come in a paradise, it's a swarg that we are going to experience. Everybody here is going to be is a devotee, so their behavior will be best, the statements that will come out of their mouth will be perfect. So that is a very wrong expectation. They are
Yes.
also Mayadheen, and they will make you realize that you don't second guess. So that is where this knowledge that who are you doing it for, keeping that big picture in mind is very important. And don't get surprised or disappointed just because somebody is not meeting your expectation as a sadhak, because everybody is work in progress. So seva world is going to challenge that big time.
Thank you, Nitinji. Very well explained.
Sure. So I want to spend just 2 minutes on this part, talking about give or get campaign. Okay, Swamiji, because I'm a mentor for a few, we have a Bhagavad Gita group. If you look at a team, about 17 members there. So that means we have a potential to raise maybe around, even if 5 or 3 lakhs, something like that, give or get, right? Either you give or be part of that campaign or get that. So we have a potential to go 70, 80 grand easily. Okay. So I'll be reaching out to all the members who are part of it, but I wanted to say, just check it out. If you want to join the team, even if you don't want to be an angel, that's fine. You can join or donate for this cause, because you could be part of this history in making, where this university is going to be the Vedic wisdom hub, or the spiritual hub or the spiritual capital of the world in the years to come. Okay. So that is the what you call aspiration Swamiji has, and you can imagine if he puts his mind to something, what kind of product is going to come out finally, and it is going to outlast our lives and serve generations to come. And it's a great way to support the noble cause that he has. Like I always say, university will fructify. It's an opportunity for us to give back in whatever little form we can. So do check it out. I will put it in chat also. See, we have like 18 members, and some very young members like Urvi and all, they are like in overdrive mode to go out and ask people for it. And they're doing a fantastic job. And if you look at it, we've already raised close to $7,500, which is pretty amazing for a short duration of time that we had. So go check it out, and you can feel free to put it whatever little you can, because it's not a huge amount. See, if you look at it, everybody contributes even a little bit of amount, whatever they can reasonably afford, still it will go a long way. So I'm just putting in my fundraiser there, or you can put it for any of the fundraiser in our team, or you're welcome to join our team as well. Okay, so either if anything would help. So do check it out. And if you have questions, you're welcome to reach out to me. I'll be happy to answer those questions for you, but it's a wonderful opportunity to give back to Swamiji, from whom we have gotten so much, maybe jump off so multiple lifetimes, to do check it out around that as well. So now let's get back to the questions that you had. Okay, few hands are raised. Let's hear from the remaining participants.
Before we take the hands, Nitinji, there is a question in the chat. I would like to take some new names. So
Sure.
Anilji has a question. What if a person is attending Swamiji's lectures every day and learning a lot of new things, but engaging in worldly activities? Will these kind of people grow spirituality in them?
See, it's a subjective question. So, end of the day, see, if we are earning more than we are expensing, right, we are still progressing. So it's very subjective. If they are learning 10 things and then their expenses, what they are losing because of the worldly association is 20, then net they are still minus 10, right? So really depends on how much they are able to put to practice those learnings, because learnings, they become mere information or what do you call that, spiritual entertainment at that point. Because the true test of progressing on path of spirituality is that you will start developing a bad bit of detachment or dispassion towards the worldly activities. They will not give you the same taste as it would previously. It should start diminishing. And then it's important to put it to practice, because if things are good, I mean, we all find it good, right, when we hear this knowledge. But if you're not able to put it to use, what's the point? If we keep on learning the recipes and never taste the gulab jamun, what's the point? Right. So
Radhe Radhe Jagrut ji, please go ahead.
it's Jagruchi.
Radhe Radhe Nitin ji. So I was just listening to the satsang, like the question on the satsang importance. So just from my at least personal experience, I think one of the things it helps is just level set you. So we always have this flaw that we always compare. So most of the time we are comparing with people, let's say in the workplace or in our friends, with all money is important, material things. So that biases us towards that. So when we go to satsang, at least personally for me, you see that there is people, very good people, educated people on the other side also, who are selfishly devoting time, genuine people, good people. And then you feel there is good in the world. And it is not, nothing bad will happen to us if we become good also. So it just helps us see the other side. And that is the only place where so many good people aggregate. So it just gives a very good comparison point, a genuine way to convince ourselves that, okay, this path is good and nothing bad will happen to me. So that's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, so this path does not give you an immunity that nothing bad will happen, but it will give you the resilience and the perspective to face it. That is what God guarantees. So it doesn't mean that again, we are hoping that our self-interest would get served or all good things will happen to us. There is no guarantee. But whatever comes your way, you will be able to face it with assurance and confidence, and your faith will not get shaken. That is the guarantee on this path. And comparison, there is no dearth of comparison. There's no limit to it, right? Like there's a story Swamiji says, right? A crow, he was like very upset that what kind of a body I have gotten. He goes to parrot and says, you have got a beautiful two colors, green and red, and you are so fortunate and I'm not. And parrot says, no, I just have two colors. Look at the peacock. He has indigos and so wonderful hues. And God has given special privilege to a peacock, and you go to peacock and he says, it's only because of this that I'm behind a zoo. It's better to be a crow who's at least a free bird. So this is a hallucination Maya creates, that the grass is greener on the other side. Actually, nobody's happy. Scriptures tell us you possibly cannot be unless you are God realized. You'll still have the same problems: anxiety, stress, fear, insecurities. I wish I had a little more. That person is ahead of me in life. Right? Jeff Bezos is not worried that his worry is that somebody else Richard Branson went to moon before me. So everybody's having the same set of problem, no matter who you are. And our scriptures are telling us very clearly, no second guessing at all. But yeah, thank you for that. I see Prakash ji as well. Let's hear from Prakash ji real quick. We have 5 more minutes. Thank you, Jagruchi.
Radhe Radhe. Nitin ji, one question. Swamiji has given a guideline for the charity, right? Like 10% of your earnings should be donated to the charity. Similar to that, did we get any guidance on the seva, much percentage of time, something like that? I think it's similar to what other question asked also, but I just wanted to see if there's any guideline from Swamiji.
I haven't heard, but it would be a good question to ask him. There is 10% rule would probably apply there as well, right? 10% of time should Shramdan, Dhandan, all kind of, but I don't know. I think we can ask Swamiji this question on guideline also, the seva aspect of it. But seva at the end of the day, basically, it gives us only the benefit around it, right? The in whatever form way we can do. But yeah, it will be a good question to ask him around it. Because in seva, there's no limit, right? Can
Yeah,
there
there's
enough
no
seva?
limit actually, but at the same time, we cannot give everything. We are not in that level at least. For us to get satisfied, at least to some extent, we can follow our Guru's direction. So we just wanted to hear that. That's the only thing.
Yeah, so when we go and meet Chitragupt, we'll have a meaningful conversation, right? That, you know what? I had my criteria quota given to me and I met it on a day-to-day basis. Yeah, I don't think there's a limit to any seva, but yeah. So within seva also, if we are not able to maintain the bhav, right, it could actually be counterproductive, right? Because yeah, so even in seva,
Yeah, right.
that right bhav is very important.
Yeah.
Seva, we know, right? All kind of.
It's not the amount of seva, but it's the amount of selfless seva that we are doing. I think that's what matters.
The nishkamta part of it, and then seva, like I said, it's going to challenge you. It's going to challenge your weak spots. It's going to help you overcome your frailties, and it is also going to give you a reality checkup that how much work is still remaining. So that is the beauty of seva. Like I said, it's a crash course on life, and it's a good way to know your shortcomings and how much work is still remaining. And seva will keep on pushing it down your throat. And the kind of personalities you'll have to deal with are tailor-made for you, okay? Because you need that lesson. And once you crack it, it is very satisfying. And then the next level of challenge would come. So that is the good part about seva.
Thank you.
Any last minute questions? So Roop Dhyan, anyways, so basically I didn't cover these the remaining steps. You can probably cover it in the next session, but anything on seva that we spoke about last minute? Rahul, you wanted to add something?
Make some announcements. Since you're talking about seva, so we have an upcoming exciting sadhana and seva day. So for people who are in and around Dallas, they can come tomorrow, actually January 28th. They have this 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. at RKT Dallas. And if that is not enough, you can make your weekend more spiritual by joining live satsang from RKT Dallas on Sunday. So that is 10:30 a.m. CST. And apart from that, Swamiji is having this India tour is going on. So right now, probably from 1st February, he will be in Tata Nagar and then going to Ranchi also. People there can look forward to meet him. That's it from the announcement side.
Thank you, Rahul. And there's one more thing, I think announcement, that is what I've come to know. Maybe it will get updated on the website very soon. That is a week-long seva and sadhana, coming up. And I think March 5th is what I'm hearing. So check it out, plan it out. Week-long, just do seva and sadhana. I mean, amazing time. And so check it out on that. Seva day is coming this Saturday, but there's going to be a week-long session as well. So please stay tuned. You'll get more details around it. I got to know about it today, and it was kind of a fascinating event that is going to be. So just wanted to let you know. Okay, are we good then? Or is there anything else? And please fill out the feedback tracker and provide your feedback around it, and anything that you want to see more of, less of, not of, please do fill it up. Okay. And have a wonderful rest of your weekend. I look forward to seeing you next week. You can stay back for the next session. Over to you, Sunil Bhai and Ajay, if you are there. So, Radhe Radhe.
Thank you, Nitin Bhai. Radhe Radhe. Thank you as always, Satsang and Roop Dhyan. What a combination, right?